Yeah, big project coming together, lots of details, like having to put their mosquito fence back up or mosquito barrier, just small stuff like that. Today's not the last day, it's the second to last day, but we are wrapping up quick, as always happens. It's a big mess for a long time, and then the last few days it just kind of slaps together really quick. Doing some grading right now, first thing in the morning. Trying to get all our sod off the pallets today. And irrigation's finally out of the way. They had a huge install, probably close to or more than the cost of the landscape itself. When you have to do a full irrigation reno, it's extensive. It can be as much as your landscape. But that's the insurance, that's the protection, that's how we keep the landscape alive. So it's absolutely necessary. Yeah, so as far as grades go, most grades are pretty awful. We step back in here, we take the sod out, which we cut out fairly evenly, and underneath is always this really ugly grade. So typically you can go through, add some fill dirt, pull it back with the machine and have a pretty well set grade quickly. But over here, like on this septic field, the grading is 100% hand grade. We go through and rake down the high spots into the low spots, clear the debris, and try to keep the landscape flowing water so it doesn't catch water anywhere, kill the grass, especially in shady areas like in the corners of this yard. That pooled water is just going to hurt the grass, hurt the grade, slowly sink the ground down, everything that you know water to do. We just don't want it. We want it to flow across top of the grass and feed it, but not sit anywhere. So a nice, clean, compact, and consistent grade helps move that water out. Bar any extreme examples, like for this corner over here by the driveway, you actually can't get this water out of the backyard, so it is going to catch over there, but we just minimize that as much as possible, bar using a drainage system to pop it out to the street somewhere or something like that. One of the first of the last touches is sod going in. So our sod's in over here. It's looking pretty finished on this side. We'll be putting pine straw and mulch later today. So this is our wrap-up process. We're going through, putting sod in, putting mulch in, and getting everything watered one more time, making sure everything is solid before we leave. I had to wrap up things like the mosquito fence, some broken lighting wire. Irrigation's even wrapping up some details out here for me right now. We'll be using up all the rest of the sod, expanding our bed areas where we can, where it's not planned. We'll kind of talk that through and add sod in places. We do have a little extra work to do as far as prep, because sometimes things show up in the course of the project and we have to add that on to the end. Sometimes it's extra, sometimes it's necessary. We sort of discuss that through. It depends on the context. But this time it's pretty necessary. It's going to make our mulch look bad if we don't take our rocks out from under it up front. So if you do have vines on your trees, I know it's kind of a nightmare. You can see what looks like fairly clean dirt down here has a bunch of roots still sticking out of it. There must have been 4 inches or more of these roots. We took out yards of roots just from around this tree, like probably 2.5 yards of roots from around a single tree. So it's something that we need to do, for instance, for irrigation to come through or for us to put plants in here eventually. It's very extensive. Something we can do, but it's something that needs to be accounted for because it can be quite a fight. Being that this was a pretty natural landscape, we're adding a lot of pine straw, sort of keep the natural look, but also being that it's very shady on this side of the property, it needs some sort of ground cover that's not grass. Sometimes it's a budgetary concern, but sometimes we're just waiting on like phase 2, phase 3, something like that. Just buy us some time and sort of buy some space cheaply. Just cover it over with some ground cover and maintain it without plants. And one of the things we do, but we try to hide, is we make straight lines. So we put our plants in a grid pattern and stuff like that. We put our bed lines parallel with things and straight. But out here we've done a more organic design with this flowing bed line. It skips through the fence, connects the 2 beds, the front and the side bed, and connects the sod line through the backyard. Just this very organic sort of flowing landscape, my preference personally. Big tear out, but we put this petite landscape in like we always do. Very ornate, very petite. Just the smallest changes, we try to execute exactly to plan. unless there's some sort of major problem under the ground or above the ground. Like if these junipers are too close to the house to stand up tall and free from the house, then bump them out a little bit and adjust the rest of the bed to fit that. But that's small stuff, you know? We try to execute exactly the way your plan is so that you get what you're expecting.